Hi everyone, we're Mimicker, here to introduce all kinds of knowledge, even the stuff we didn't know about. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking into something so fundamental, so, seemingly simple, that we hardly ever give it a second thought. I'm talking about the very act of seeing. Just think about it for a second.
Yeah.
That phrase, seeing is believing. It feels so deep, right?
It really does. It's more than just a saying.
Yeah, it's like an intuition just woven into how we live every single day. When you look out your window or at someone you love, or even just down at your coffee cup, there's this immediate, undeniable feeling that what you're seeing is real. It's objective. It's exactly as it looks. But, and here's the twist, what if I told you that this absolute conviction we have about our own vision, this bedrock idea, what if it's actually, well, a profound, even creative illusion? Something orchestrated entirely by your own brain.
That's quite the starting point.
Right. So that's our mission today, to dive deep into the science, the insights that reveal just how incredibly complex, how dynamic, and yes, how truly creative seeing really is. It's a process that goes way, way beyond that simple idea of your eye just being like a camera.
Much further.
Our main guide for this journey is a really groundbreaking book. We know it when we see it. What the neurobiology of vision tells us about how we think. It's by the brilliant Professor Richard Masland. And honestly, this isn't just a science book. It's more like a mind-bending exploration. It's going to challenge your fundamental understanding of perception, how you think, maybe even the nature of reality itself.
Absolutely. Prepare yourself, because this deep dive could fundamentally revolutionize how you understand your own reality. We're essentially going to pull back the curtain. We'll see how your brain isn't just passively getting images, but is actually this tireless constructor building the very world you experience moment by moment.
Wow.
It's an astonishing continuous process, a kind of creation, really. And understanding it reshapes everything, our ideas about consciousness, how we interact with the world. It's big stuff.
Okay, let's really unpack this then. That common saying, seeing is believing. It hits home for everyone, doesn't it?
It feels fundamental.
Exactly. Like an undeniable, intuitive truth. If I see it, I trust it.
Yeah.
Implicitly. We rely on this for, well, everything.
Navigating streets, recognizing faces.
Yeah, picking out ripe fruit at the store, it's constant. This belief system is so deeply embedded in how we think that even suggesting we question it feels weird, counterintuitive.
Maybe even impossible for some people to grasp initially.
Right, it shapes our whole interaction with the world.
And what's truly fascinating here, what modern neuroscience is showing us through decades of really meticulous research, is the astonishing complexity hidden behind that simple intuition. It's revealing that vision, well, it's not just an optical imaging process.
Not the camera snapping a photo idea.
Not at all. That old view, eye as a passive lens, brain as a monitor, it turns out to be, frankly, quite misleading. Almost a naive simplification of one of the brain's most incredible abilities.
So, okay, if it's not just a camera, not just passively recording, what is it? What's the core revelation here from Masland?
The core idea, and it really is a paradigm shift, is that vision is actually a profoundly creative and constructive act.
Creative, that's the key word.
Yes, an act of perception entirely orchestrated by your brain. Think about what creative implies here. It suggests artistry, ongoing construction, not just passive receiving.
So my brain isn't just observing. It's actively building my visual world, like right now.
Precisely. Every second. The vibrant, detailed, stable reality you feel like you're interacting with right now, the world that feels so objectively there, it isn't objective reality in a direct, unmediated way.
Okay, wait, so what is it then?
It's a built perceptual reality, a meticulously crafted interpretation. Your retina, the layer at the back of your eye, it doesn't just transmit a perfect photo to your brain. Instead, it ingeniously distorts and recodes the raw visual information coming in.
Distorts, that sounds bad.
But it's not bad. Think of it less as distortion, more as intelligent filtering and encoding. It's highly efficient. And then, after that initial processing by the retina, your brain takes over. It painstakingly constructs that fragmented, recoded data back into the coherent, seamless image you consciously see.
Wow, so my brain is interpreting, filling in gaps.
Constantly. This concept is revolutionary because it means your brain is far more active, far more interpretive, deeply involved in shaping your sensory experience than we ever really thought. It's a continuous, dynamic creation, happening faster than you can even think about it.
And the person guiding us through this profound shift, is Professor Richard Masland, the author of the book.
That's right.
He comes at this with such a unique perspective, leveraging decades of his own deep research. His book, it just masterfully guides you. It starts from the basic bits of the eye, the retina, the cells.
The real nuts and bolts.
Yeah. And takes you all the way deep into the brain's incredibly complex, interconnected cognitive networks. It's a journey into this process we just casually call seeing.
And what makes Masland's work truly exceptional, I think, is that he doesn't just explain the mechanics in isolation. He doesn't just say, here's how the eye parts work. Instead, he intricately links these mechanisms to much broader fundamental aspects of being human. Our intelligence, for instance.
Also.
Well, he connects vision to how we form abstract thoughts, how we learn new things, how we make and recall memories, even how we're developing artificial intelligence.
AI, how does vision research connect to AI?
We'll definitely get into that.
Yeah.
He weaves together neurobiology, cognitive science, computer science. It's this grand tapestry showing how perception and intellect are deeply, deeply intertwined. It changes how you see, well, how you see everything.
Let's talk a bit more about the author himself, Professor Richard H. Masland, because understanding who he was really adds weight to these ideas. We're not just talking about any scientist here.
No, absolutely not. A true giant in his field.
He held the David Glendenning Kogan Distinguished Professor title in ophthalmology and neurobiology at Harvard Medical School. Which, I mean, Harvard Medical School.
Yeah.
That's the peak, right?
It signifies someone at the absolute top of their discipline, a leader whose work influences researchers globally. It's not just a fancy title.
And he dedicated over 4 decades to this work, right?
Yeah.
At Harvard and Mass, eye and ear.
40 years. Tireless work. He earned international recognition as the neuroscientist specializing in the retina. His research wasn't just incremental, it was groundbreaking, particularly understanding how retinal neurons are organized, how they function together. This wasn't just abstract theory, it provided foundational knowledge. It deepened our understanding of vision itself, and critically shed light on what goes wrong in retinal diseases that cause blindness.
And that's the amazing part. His theoretical work had real-world impact. You mentioned blindness.
Yes. His foundational research directly led to the development of potential therapies for blindness, actual treatments. And those therapies, born from his deep scientific digging into how the retina works, are currently in clinical trials. Think about that.
That's incredible. From basic science in the lab to potentially restoring sight.
It's a powerful testament to the value of deep scientific curiosity and, frankly, lifelong dedication. It doesn't always happen that directly.
And the accolades reflect this, right?
Yeah.
Howard Hughes Medical Institute researcher.
Recipient of the Proctor Medal, a huge honor in ophthalmology. Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences.
These aren't just resume lines. They signify a lifetime pushing the boundaries of knowledge at the highest levels, influencing generations.
Precisely.
Now, about the book itself, we know it when we see it. It has a unique significance, doesn't it? It marks a transition for him.
It does. It represents his shift from that intense, specialized lab research, the nitty-gritty cell work, toward sharing that knowledge more broadly through popular science writing.
And what's quite poignant, really, is that it was published after he passed away in 2019. It's a posthumous work.
Yes, and that fact gives it a special kind of weight, a gravitas. You feel like you're getting a distillation, a final condensation of his entire life's knowledge and experience, a final gift, in a way.
Taking 40 years of cutting-edge research, stuff usually hidden in dense academic papers,
and transforming it into engaging, accessible stories, all in this incredibly clear, engaging style. For a scholar of his stature to decide, late in his career, to do this, to write a popular science book, it just gives the work extraordinary authority and depth. You know, it comes from decades of profound thought.
So it's definitely not just a list of facts.
Yeah.
It feels more like the culmination of a life's passion for exploring, for reflecting on the mind, on perception.
Exactly. And the reviews reflect that. They consistently call it profound yet accessible. They note that it teaches the essence of perceptual neuroscience in language anyone can understand.
That's the magic combination, isn't it? Complex science made clear without dumbing it down.
It's a rare skill. It makes the book this invaluable legacy. It blends academic rigor with readability. So anyone curious about how they actually see the world can gain these profound insights. It's a gift of clarity, truly, from a master of the field.
Okay, so let's dive into one of the most mind-bending parts, This is where it gets really interesting and maybe a little unsettling if you're attached to that old view. Masland thoroughly debunks the eye as a camera idea.
He really dismantles it.
For so long, we've pictured our eyes like little cameras, taking perfect snapshots, sending them pixel by pixel to the brain. But he says, nope, that's not it. For you listening, how does that challenge your basic understanding? Think about it. If your eye isn't just recording, what does that imply about the reality you're experiencing right now?
It's more than just a different model. It's a fundamental shift. Masland clarifies that the world you perceive is absolutely not its objective reality in some raw, unedited form.
Okay.
Instead, it gets profoundly distorted and recoded by the retina before the signal even leaves your eye to go to the brain.
Distortion, draw coding. Can you break that down? What does that actually mean?
Well, distortion here isn't like a flaw. It's actually incredibly smart processing. Think of it as intelligent compression and feature extraction. Your retina doesn't just capture pixels, it actively deconstructs the incoming visual scene. It breaks it down into dozens of independent, streamlined components.
Components like what?
Not just raw light values, things that are already more abstract, like detecting edges between objects, specific colors, the direction something is moving, even subtle changes in brightness or contrast over time.
So the retina is already figuring things out.
Yes, it's performing analysis. And each of these abstract features, edges, motion, color, gets transmitted to the brain via its own separate neural pathway, like dedicated data cables, each carrying a specific type of information.
Why do that? Why not send the whole picture?
Efficiency. It's all about optimizing the data flow. The evolutionary goal is to send only the most crucial, most important information effectively. It strategically ignores redundant data, background noise, things that aren't immediately vital for survival or understanding the scene.
So it's filtering out stuff.
Precisely. Your brain simply couldn't handle processing every single photon hitting your retina. It would be completely overwhelmed. It has to prioritize, filter, pre-process. And this isn't unique to vision. It's a fundamental principle for all our senses.
How does the retina actually do that transformation? How does light become these features?
Okay, that gets down to the cellular level. It involves the individual neurons in the retina. These are tiny, incredibly complex biological processors. Think of each neuron's outer wall, its membrane. Embedded in that membrane are microscopic gateways, like tiny doors, called protein channels. These channels are highly selective. They act like bouncers at a club, controlling exactly which tiny electrically charged particles ions, like sodium or potassium, can flow into or out of the neuron. This precise, incredibly rapid movement of ions across the membrane creates a sudden electrical pulse, a nerve impulse.
Like a little zap of electricity.
Exactly. Think of it like a digital signal, a tiny bit of information. It's how the stimulus of light hitting a photoreceptor cell gets translated into an electrochemical language your brain can actually understand and process. It's this complex, unbelievably fast electrochemical conversation happening billions of times every second in your eyes.
Okay, wow. So the retina is doing this massive job, breaking down the scene, extracting features, encoding them into electrical signals, sending them down separate lines, all before the brain even sees anything.
Well, before the conscious you sees anything, the brain is getting these signals, but they're fragmented. They're these pre-processed pieces.
Right, so the brain doesn't just passively receive these puzzle pieces then. It's not just a projector screen showing what the retina sends.
No, absolutely not. Your brain is not a passive recipient. It's an active architect. It takes these fragmented signals and constructs the coherent world you perceive.
How way? What's the mechanism for that construction?
Through its incredibly complex neural networks. Billions of neurons connected in intricate patterns.
Networks, like computer networks.
Sort of, but vastly more complex and dynamic. These aren't rigid circuits like in a computer chip. They're more like incredibly intricate, constantly shifting spider webs, woven from millions upon millions of interconnected neurons.
Shifting, how do they shift?
That's the key. The connection points between neurons called synapses aren't fixed. They can be continuously modified, strengthened or weakened based on your experiences, based on what you learn.
So that's plasticity.
Exactly. This astonishing plasticity is what makes your brain so incredibly adaptable and powerful. It's the biological basis of learning and memory.
And this plasticity is crucial for vision, too.
Absolutely vital. It allows you to learn new visual patterns, recognize new objects, adapt to changing light conditions, and critically, it allows the brain to recover from injury. If one pathway is damaged, plasticity allows the brain to potentially reroute information, reallocate resources.
Okay, so because the retinal information is streamlined and fragmented,
Right, those features we talked about, edges, motion,
the
etc.
brain has to actively reconstruct it to make sense of it.
It must. To give you that rich, coherent, seamless visual experience you take for granted. This active construction transforms vision from just reflecting a scene, like a mirror, into a dynamic, ongoing process that requires learning and, crucially, prediction.
Prediction. The brain predicts what I'm going to see.
In a way, yes. Your brain's neural networks are constantly drawing on all your past visual experiences, your stored knowledge, your expectations about the world. They anticipate what's likely to be in your field of view, integrating that prediction with the actual fragmented input coming from the retina.
Like an advanced autocomplete for vision.
That's a great analogy. It fills in the gaps, smooths things over, creating a stable, meaningful, and surprisingly robust visual world, even when the raw input is noisy or incomplete.
Masland uses a great example to illustrate this, doesn't he? The crowded amusement park.
Ah, yes, that's a perfect illustration of the brain's constructive power in action.
He asks, why can parents instantly recognize their child in a crowded amusement park? Just pause and think about that. You're in this overwhelming environment, crowds, colors, noise, constant motion. Yet, somehow, boom, you spot your kid.
Yeah.
Almost effortlessly.
Seems simple, intuitive even.
But it's not simple at all, is it? What's really happening neurologically?
Oh, it's anything but simple. It's a neurological masterclass. That seemingly instant recognition involves a complex interplay of your retinal anatomy.
It's the physical structure of the eye.
Right. Plus, the very real bandwidth limitations of your optic nerve. That's the main cable from eye to brain. It can only carry so much information per second.
Like internet speed limits.
Exactly like that. And then, of course, the brain's incredibly sophisticated signal processing and cognitive functions, including memory and attention.
You mentioned retinal anatomy. What specifically?
The key thing is resolution. Only the very central part of your retina, a tiny spot called the fovea, has the densely packed cones needed for high-resolution, sharp color vision.
So only the very center of my vision is actually sharp.
That's right. Think about holding your thumb out at arm's length. The area of truly high clarity is probably no bigger than your thumbnail in your entire visual field. Clarity and detail drop off rapidly outside that tiny foveal area. Most of your visual field is processed at a much lower resolution.
Wait, that doesn't feel right. My visual field feels clear all over. I don't see a sharp spot and a blurry mess.
Exactly. And that's the brain's magic trick. Despite this huge physiological limitation that most of your visual input is relatively blurry, your subjective experience is seamless, continuous, and clear.
How does the brain pull that off?
Through constant learning, prediction, and movement. Your brain learns to anticipate what should be in the periphery based on what the fovea is seeing in your past experience. It fills in the gaps. Plus, your eyes are constantly making tiny, incredibly fast movements called saccades. You're not aware of them, but they happen several times a second.
Saccades.
Yes. They flick your fovea around the scene, bringing different points of interest into sharp focus, like rapidly scanning with that high-def spotlight.
Okay.
Then, the brain takes these high-resolution snapshots from the fovea, stitches them together over time, combines them with the lower-resolution peripheral information, and integrates its own predictions. All to create that stable, coherent, seemingly high-resolution visual world you experience.
Wow. So it's constantly building this composite image from fragments and predictions.
Yeah. Constantly. So going back to the amusement park, recognizing your child isn't just about matching a pattern. Your brain uses the fovea to quickly scan faces, yes, but it also uses peripheral cues, expectations, maybe even how the child moves. It integrates all this, compensates for the blurriness, fills in details, and achieves recognition remarkably fast.
So that whole explanation from the eye's limits to the brain's active construction, it just hammers home that seeing is believing is, well, it's complicated. The brain is the real star.
It truly is. The brain is the indispensable architect behind the curtain of your visual reality, not just a receiver, but a creator.
That is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so if our brains are these incredible reality constructors constantly predicting, filling in blanks, what does this mean for how we think about intelligence itself, especially now in the age of AI?
That's a crucial connection Masland makes.
How do our, squishy biological brains compare to the silicon brains we're building, the ones learning from massive data sets?
Masland offers some really powerful insights here. He draws a fascinating comparison. Despite modern computers being, millions, even billions of times faster than a single neuron in raw processing speed.
Which sounds like they should be way better.
You'd think so. But the human brain still dramatically outperforms them in many vital perceptual abilities, especially when dealing with the messy, unpredictable real world.
Like the amusement park example.
Exactly. Let's go back to that. A human brain spots the child instantly, effortlessly, using barely any energy. For today's AI, recognizing a specific person in that kind of complex, dynamic, visually noisy environment, it's still an incredibly hard problem.
Really? Even with facial recognition being so common?
Recognizing a face is one thing. Recognizing a specific, known individual in a cluttered, unpredictable scene under variable lighting from different angles, maybe partially occluded, that requires massive computing power, huge amounts of energy, and even then, AI often struggles, especially if the conditions are different from its training data. It's often barely achievable reliably.
Huh. That's surprising.
Which leads Masland to make a pretty bold statement. He says, I'm quoting here, "In terms of efficiency and versatility, contemporary computers are, to some extent, terrible brains."
Terrible brains. Wow. That's blunt.
Now, he's not trying to bash AI's achievements, which are obviously impressive in specific areas. It's more a critical observation highlighting the fundamental differences and the unique strengths of biological intelligence.
What are those key differences then?
Efficiency and versatility. The human brain performs countless complex tasks simultaneously: vision, hearing, language, planning, moving, all while running on the power equivalent of a dim 20-watt light bulb.
That's incredible.
AI, on the other hand, often needs vast data centers consuming enormous amounts of energy, typically to excel at just one specific task. It struggles to generalize its learning effectively to new, unexpected situations.
So specialization versus general adaptability.
And incredible energy efficiency. This comparison really throws the unique advantages of biological intelligence into sharp relief. Its efficiency, its adaptability, its inherent versatility across countless different, unpredictable contexts.
You also mentioned the history of neural networks.
Yeah.
That the AI concept actually came from neuroscience.
That's right. Masland points out that the fundamental idea how neurons connect and learn together was proposed way back over half a century ago by the Canadian neuroscientist Donald Hebb.
Hebb, what was his idea?
His famous principle, often summarized as neurons that fire together, wire together. Basically, if two neurons are active at the same time, the connection, the synapse between them gets stronger. That's the basis of learning at the neural level.
And computer scientists picked up on that.
They did. They adopted and developed these ideas, forming the foundation for machine learning and modern AI neural networks.
Well, Masland emphasizes something specific about human brain networks, right?
Yes, and it's absolutely crucial, especially for the future of AI. He highlights the extraordinary plasticity of our biological synapses.
That ability to change connections based on experience.
Exactly. That continuous modification, strengthening, weakening, based on learning, feedback, everything. This biological adaptability, this inherent flexibility to change, to recover from damage by rerouting signals, to shift resources to new tasks. This is seen as a key direction for AI development now.
So AI needs to become more plastic, more adaptable like our brains.
Precisely. Researchers are increasingly looking back to biology, to the brain's design, for inspiration. How can we make computers learn more genuinely, become more flexible, more robust to unexpected impulse, more adaptable like us, instead of just relying on brute force computation and massive data sets?
It sounds like neuroscience and computer science need to work together closely then.
They are. Masland highlights this growing alliance. The two fields are in much closer communication now, sharing insights, jointly tackling the mysteries of intelligence, both biological and artificial.
So understanding how we see isn't just biology. It's actually pointing the way for better AI.
It absolutely is. It strongly suggests that AI researchers can gain profound insights from biological models to overcome some of the current bottlenecks in AI, pushing towards machines that are more versatile, efficient, and maybe even truly intelligent in a more human-like way.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. If we pull back and look at the bigger picture, Masland's work isn't just hard science about neurons and pathways, is it? It feels like it opens up philosophical questions.
Oh, absolutely. It's a deeply thought-provoking philosophical dialogue woven through the science.
How so? What's the main philosophical challenge here?
By meticulously showing us the constructive, interpretive nature of vision, that our brain is actively building what we perceive, He fundamentally challenges our deepest, most ingrained assumptions about reality itself.
Because if my brain is building it.
Then how objective is the reality you perceive? If it's an interpretation tailored by your unique brain, your learning history, is it the same reality someone else perceives? This unveiling of perceptual subjectivity leads directly into those deep, ancient questions about consciousness, about subjective experience.
The "is my red the same as your red" question.
Exactly. That's the classic example of the qualia conundrum, which the book touches upon. Qualia refers to the subjective qualities of experience, the redness of red, the pang of jealousy, the taste of pineapple.
And the book asks those direct questions, like, when I see an apple, is the red I see the same as the red you see?
Yes, it invites that reflection. It pushes you to consider the intensely personal, private nature of your own perception, and to acknowledge the fascinating limitations of our cognition. We can describe the wavelength of red light, we can describe the neural activity, but can we ever truly know or convey the subjective experience of redness itself?
Probably not.
It suggests a certain humility is needed when we talk about objective reality versus subjective experience.
That blend of science and philosophy is really compelling.
It is. It's what makes the book so enriching. It merges the precision of scientific discovery with the breadth of philosophical inquiry. It achieves that rare thing, real literary quality within a science text. It invites curiosity on so many levels.
And I have to say, his writing style really helps. You mentioned it's precise yet accessible. He just has this amazing ability to take incredibly complex neuroscience.
Stuff that could easily be dense and impenetrable.
Right. And weave it into these engaging narratives that pull you right in. He doesn't just explain how we see, which is fascinating enough.
No, he goes further.
Yeah, he guides you to think about what seeing means on a deeper level. How this fundamental process shapes our understanding of ourselves, our inner world, our place in the objective world out there. It's an intellectual journey, but also kind of an introspective one.
And there's another layer, too. His detailed explanations of laboratory work, the actual process of neuroscience research, they give you this invaluable glimpse into how science actually happens.
Yeah, I mean the day-to-day reality of it.
Yes. The rigorous dedication, the meticulous experiments, the trial and error, the slow patient verification. You see how scientists gradually piece things together, unraveling these profound mysteries. There's an inspiring power just in seeing that process depicted honestly.
It makes you appreciate the knowledge more, knowing the work behind it.
Exactly. It transforms you from just being a passive recipient of facts into an active thinker. It encourages you to ask your own questions, challenge assumptions, maybe even start your own explorations.
So ultimately, through this scientific lens, the book takes you way beyond just seeing is believing.
Far beyond. Into this deeper, more philosophically charged world of perception. It prompts a real re-examination of the relationship between yourself, your constructed reality, and whatever objective reality might be. It's not just about the eye. It's a journey of self-discovery, starting with the science of sight. It urges you to look at the simple act of seeing with fresh, almost astonished eyes and recognize the beautiful mysteries it still holds.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. To recap our journey today, we know it when we see it. It really feels like the culmination of Professor Richard Masland's entire life's work.
It truly does. A lifetime of research distilled.
And with its amazing scientific depth, but also that engaging storytelling, it gives you this comprehensive, almost startling picture of vision, perception, and how your brain literally constructs your reality. It's not just reflecting it.
And because of that, the book doesn't just satisfy curiosity about how seeing works. It fundamentally challenges our most ingrained assumptions. It guides us to really re-examine the complexity, the profound meaning hidden behind that simple phrase, seeing is believing.
It really shows how top-tier science can be both profound and accessible, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It lets you enjoy this rich intellectual feast while gaining genuinely new, transformative knowledge. Knowledge that can actually shift how you see the world.
And its value cuts across so many fields. That interdisciplinary breadth is remarkable. Neurobiology, cognitive science, even looking towards AI, gives you this holistic, integrated understanding of human intelligence itself, starting from our most dominant sense.
So, for you listening, whether you're already a life science enthusiast, or maybe an explorer curious about cognitive science, maybe an industry professional tracking AI developments, or honestly, even if you're just generally interested in how your own mind works, This deep dive, inspired by Masland's incredible book, hopefully offered some invaluable, maybe even startling insights. It really does lead you on a journey beyond ordinary perception.
A journey to rediscover the world you see, and maybe even your own existence within it.
Prompting you, perhaps, to view the simple act of seeing with fresh eyes from now on, recognizing the endless mysteries it still entails.
And it leaves you with this final thought, doesn't it? This deep dive into vision. It makes you wonder, if our visual reality is constantly being built, interpreted, learned by our brains.
Filling in blanks, making predictions.
Yeah. What else about our daily experience might be more constructed than we realize? Our memories, our emotions, even our sense of who we are.
That's the big question.
And how does that understanding change how we interact with the world, or even with each other? Knowing that each person's perceived reality might be uniquely sculpted by their own individual brain and history.
It's a perspective shift, isn't it? It perhaps encourages a bit more humility, maybe more wonder about our own internal worlds and the internal worlds of others. It challenges you to see the active role you play in creating your own reality and the incredible, beautiful complexity hidden right there in plain sight, just behind your eyes.
Thanks for tuning into this deep dive. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell.